Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Shemar Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations to all the Akim out on the four corners, teaching the truth and sincerity. This is Tasha Kwama, here with the brother
Rock, Shalom.
of the GMS Dallas camp. Coming at you with a quick lesson, Lord's willing. This is edifying unto the hopeful elect. Because of these times that we're in, Yahweh Shai Shai is moving quickly to deliver his elect out of the hands of Esau Edom. He's wanting to save his wife out of true peril. All right. Yahweh Shai has blessed, the La'ah to see the things of the world coming to pass. All right. And the end of Esau Edom coming to pass. Okay. And all these other nations. All right. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into the scriptures, and I pray that y'all are edified, by the Yahweh Shai in the speaking. Okay. So Baba Kushai, could you pull that Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 8?
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 8. And it reads, it says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof.
And this is setting the stage. All right, because it's better to see the end of a thing or the world in this account, because it's better to see something and to be broken down, because that happens quickly. Okay, it takes time to build things up, but as it falls, it's like a controlled demolition. It happens within seconds. It takes years to build things up, but seconds to destroy something. But you got it.
I have a precept.
This is
1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer.
Watch unto prayer. All right, because you should be praying for protection, as you're watching the end of this society come about. All right.
Yep. And if I may interject real quick, like we're about to go into, basically the things that we're seeing Trump do, the things that we're seeing the United States do, Babylon the Great, the moves that it's making, all right, around the world, provoking, war basically. All right, imperialism. All right, we know that it's about to cause the downfall of Babylon the Great, which is America. It's being broken down right in front of our eyes, and that's what we're about to touch on here. You got
you go back into the scripture.
This is Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. It says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
Because we have to be patient and sober in mind, to see the said perils to come. All right. And what's that scripture talks about how we're supposed to pray and watch?
That's I know scripture talking about watch ye and pray always.
Yeah, watch ye and pray always. Especially in these times. All right, because Esau Edom is about to have a serious fall. Okay, to where he can't come back from. Okay,
I got that.
This is,
Luke 21:36.
There you go.
Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
And that's Luke 21.
Yes, sir.
That's also going to the nation of Israel falling. Because the Romans besieged Jerusalem around that time. I perceive, you know, uh, because it's either 21 or 20, Salakia. But we can pull the next precept.
Con, this is Sirach chapter 25 and verse 7. It says, "There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue, a man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy."
Now we don't. Some brothers do have joy of their children on the side, but they can't fully grasp it because we're not sovereign. Okay, so and uh, we can't be on point with how we raise up our children because we are under captivity under Esau Edom, the most wickedest man on the planet Earth. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can read that again.
This is Sirach chapter 25 and verse 7. It says, "There be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue, a man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy."
And that's what we're doing right now. How about Shemi Shai has blessed us to see the fall of our number one enemy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and it says also in that uh, the scripture that goes into there have been many men that have wanted to see the things that you see.
I got that.
Baba Shot.
This is Matthew chapter 13
There you go.
and verse 16. It says, "But blessed are your eyes, for they see,
Yep.
and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them."
Because Yahweh Shemi Shai has literally raised up a generation, that thought that they were no people, and through much toiling, and meditation and reading, they understood that they were the children of Yahweh Shemi Shai, and has come to a point to where they get to see the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
With us seeing the end of the movie, Yahweh Shemi Shai has put it on our la'abs, and upon our tongues to speak these things into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, through the understanding and breaking down of the scriptures, But you got anything else on that?
Nah, I don't. I know I did want to read the header of this article at least before we get into segment 15, if that's okay.
Con. But just harping on the point of blessed is seeing the end of Babylon the Great, and the war that's about to besiege the whole world, So all these other nations are going to feel it too, But you guys, Slocky.
Kind of, I was just gonna read the header of this because like we going into, you're not gonna see the fall of America if you're not paying attention to current events.
Con.
That's why the scriptures tell us to speak ye unto our people the words of prophecy. What is prophecy?
Yeah.
Prophecy is
to say before.
Right, to say before the will of the Lord playing out in real time. So this is just something that came up, yesterday. All right, that it's on this councilformulations.org. It says United States shoots down Iranian drone. Right, it says 2 Iranian military provocations against the United States assets in the Middle East yesterday underscored high tensions ahead of negotiations planned for Friday. So something they're pushing in the media right now is basically Iran, like I said, making aggressive military action towards the United States. All right, and whether or not this is a excuse for a U.S. attack or attack from Israel. We will see.
Yep.
But it's looking as if that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
So I just wanted to make that point because this will come back. This is good to have on your mind while we go into 2 Ezra 15 because we know things are getting ready to ramp up on a high level.
Yeah, because they're actually setting the stage.
Right.
All right. They're putting up the props, and trying to play out this whole thing. Because really, most of these nations ain't, trying to, always take shots at Babylon the Great. They cause, the reaction, right? Because if they didn't cause it, it wouldn't happen so quickly.
Right.
But you got it out.
Con, you want to get into 2 15?
Shot.
Con. All right, this is in the book of 2 Ezra chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse 28. And if I may, when you read 2 Ezra 15 and 16, it's basically an in-depth look at how Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed.
Yep.
And that's the beautiful part about Scripture. The Scripture don't just tell you what's going to happen. A lot of times, the vision that the Lord gave, it tells you how, gives you a basic reference of how it's going to go down as well.
A synopsis.
Yep.
It gives you a synopsis, and these are the books that they tried to take out of the scriptures.
Yep.
This is the Apocrypha, so the hidden books, and these were hidden for these times. All right, that's why at the start of the lesson, I was hinging on, how these things were meant for the people that's going to be at the end. That's what that Ecclesiasticus 25 and 7 and that Ecclesiastes 7 and 8 is talking about.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, and I'll start at 28. It says, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth."
Now we have to break down who the dragons of Arabia are. All right. Now the dragons of Arabia, that's that whole Slovakia, Eastern is Islamic Umbrance or Emirates. The
Arab Emirates.
The Arab Emirates. Slovakia on that. That's going to come up against Babylon the Great. Or what we see coming to pass right now.
Gun. I'll read this again. This is 2 Ezra 15 and verse 28. It says, "Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east." And if I may, to make note of when it says the east, we know that that's talking about the Valley of Jehoshaphat.
Oh, the Levant region.
The Levant region over there in what's known as the Middle East. Do you mind if I get this real quick in Joel 3?
You got it.
This is Joel chapter 3, verse 1 and 2, right? Because we also talked about before we cut the camera on how 2 Ezra 15 links up with Joel, other prophecies in Joel, because like we were talking about, the scriptures give you more levels of perspective. Joel seen a particular vision, and then we go to 2 Ezra 15 and 16, and the prophet Ezra received the same vision, but a more detailed kind of insight.
Yeah.
But this is Joel chapter 3 and verse 1 and 2, and feel free to speak on it if you want to.
Yeah.
It says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," right? Bring again meaning turn back. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat. All right, which Yehoshaphat means the Lord's judgment.
Yeah, the Lord's
judgment.
Or the valley of decision.
Valley of decision.
Going into that Second Ezra chapter 13. That talks about all the nations, fighting amongst each other, and then turning and fighting against Yahweh Shem Shai.
Yep.
Whenever his coming.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel.
So all this is happening because of Esau taking the nation of Israel, and putting them in hard captivity, as it says in that I think it's Exodus. It's like it's slipping the but it talks about how he stilleth the man and selleth him. 6 and 16 or 20 and 16. I perceive. I'll pull it.
Find it.
It's like
No, I got it.
It's 20 and 16.
This is Exodus chapter 21 and verse 16.
That's what it is.
It says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
So Esau stole us, all right, and we are found in his hand to this day. Right. So therefore, Yahweh Shem Shai is going to enact a holy judgment upon the nation of Edom, by taking him out the way. As it says in that 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 8. But
yep,
you got it.
So this is 2 Ezra 15 and 28. It says, behold an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as with the wind upon earth, that all they which hear may fear and tremble. So
this is going to happen fast. They're going to be carried with the wind. All right, and this is going to happen, in a manner of them because it like a blitzkrieg. This is going to happen fast. They're going to have to hurry up and take them off the board. All right. But
yeah, Ishmael's going to click up.
Yep.
These Arabian, right? Because the modern day Arab is those are Ishmaelites. Now obviously they're Israelites mingled. There are other heathen mixed here and there.
Yeah.
But for majority it's mainly Ishmael and Jake over there.
And then there's different sects.
Right.
So it's like a lot of gangs becoming one big gang to fight against a bigger enemy.
Right. Right. Nations clicking up.
Yep.
Yep.
But you got it.
Yep. It says verse 29. It says verse 30. It says also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood.
Now the Carmanians, those are the Iranians. All right. So the Iranians is what Esau Edom really wants to go after right now, because they don't have a central bank. That they are really adverse to the American way. All right. You got it.
Let me see real quick. There's some juice. That's real quick.
Because Carmania was was a nation back 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 when, back in the ancient world.
Con, let me see real quick. I forgot what the link was. I want to say Karman is a city today in Iran, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see real quick. Just verification.
Yeah.
To Iran. Now there was something on this McClintic Wikipedia I wanted to pull, but I'm gonna cheat and go to ChatGPT real quick. All right.
Not cheating, brother.
I'm gonna read that verse again while it loads. It says, right, because it also likened them to wild boars.
Yeah.
And if you ever seen like a video, because a wild boar is basically like a wild hog.
Yep.
If you ever seen a video of a damn undomesticated pig,
it's a hairy, long tusk.
Yep.
It's something. It can be a potential, threat, against certain animals, but it just goes head first into shit,
And a matter of fact, I know the Genesis 16, the wild, actually links right there. Can I read that?
Uncle Shot.
Yeah, this is Genesis chapter 16 and verse 12, and this is going into Ishmael.
Yep.
All right. It says, I'm gonna start with verse 10.
You got
it.
You got it.
Genesis 16 and 10. It says, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, talking about Hagar. It says, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude, which is talking about Ishmael, the modern day Arab, which this is all prophecy. The script, like because in Europe you had migration issues in Europe, various parts of that region, because Arab is populous. They got a heavy population too.
Yeah, because I could have sworn that their army, they used to have a really good army, back when.
And even today, they say they have some of the premier drone technology in the world.
Yeah, just like Russia has the missile technology, Iran has the drone technology. That's how they overdid the Iron Dome.
Mm-hmm.
They sent all those drones out, and it caused them to lose a lot of money, because one of the Iron drone missiles was more expensive than a $200 drone that they were blowing them up with.
Yep.
Slovakia.
No, you good. This is in Genesis 16 and 11. It says, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, thou shalt bear a son, and call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction.
Now Ishmael was not the seed of the promise.
Right.
Okay. Ishmael, even though he was born first, all right, he was the seed of the bondwoman, and Isaac was the seed of the free woman.
Yep. And when you read this chapter, Sarah put that pressure on Hagar to get the fuck on.
Yep.
And that was really the spirit of it was the spirit. She was in the spirit, man. And that shows that Ishmael was never meant to be that chosen seed. He had to get gone, man.
Yeah.
But he was blessed. The Lord, Abraham hooked him up with particular things, and
but and even in these times, that's why Iran has the oil deposits.
Right. Beautiful.
But you got it.
It says, verse 12. It says, and he will be a wild man, and his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
And that's why really nobody was fucking with him. Nobody was fucking with him, except for Esau and these Ashkenazis. We have to get Iran. Iran is trying to destroy Israel, when Iran was over there chilling. Y'all kept on poking the bear. But you got it.
Con, that was pretty much it on that. I'll read this the Carmenian history a little bit. It says, who were the Carmenians? It says historically, the Carmanians are identified with the inhabitants of Carmania, a region of ancient Persia,
Mm-hmm.
the Persian Empire, which corresponds roughly to the area of modern Kerman province
Hmm.
in southeastern Iran. So,
Oh.
boom. There you go. Just want to get that. Okay, we can jump back to 2 Ezra 15.
Bible shot.
This is 2 Ezra 15 and verse 29, or verse 30. It says, also, the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. Just broke that down. It says, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians.
And that land of Assyria, because Assyria is likened unto Babylon the Great, or America.
Yeah.
All right, and there are some military bases over there in the Middle East, and some embassies. Well, the land that those embassies and military bases are on are likened unto being part of the U.S. All right, because it's sovereign land. Like whenever a diplomat or a citizen of America wants to be protected, by the Americans in a foreign land, they will try their best to get to embassy or military base. All right, because that would show that they're back in America in a foreign land.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it.
Yep. You mind if I read this real quick?
Bible shots.
Isaiah 10 and 5, it says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Now, when you go into the history, we know that the Assyrian Empire was used to take down the Northern Kingdom, right, around 722 BC.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but we also know that spiritually, this is an Esau scripture too. This applies to Esau. All right, that's the reason why, all you nations be getting y'all ass kicked, since he got in power. Like the scriptures say, Job 9 and 24.
The earth is given into the hands of the wicked.
Given into the hands of the wicked.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
Yep.
And it's not Esau doing that to this day, covering up the faces of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans of Negroid descent. But you got it. So
I just want to make that quick point. This is back in 2 Ezra 15 and 30. It says, also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them.
And so that's the Iranians going back into the Iranians and the Arabs going back into their first nature, because they're wild men.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. But is there more you wanted? You can keep going.
I mean, there's more, but it's because it's going to go into China and all that. But we can do that in another lesson, because China is going to be implemented in this as well, because it's the whole world coming up against Babylon the Great and Israel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like whenever the nations took Israel down, like in that Psalms 83, everybody came together to fight against us. Now everybody's coming together to fight against Eve, and Russia's going to be a guard unto the Carmanians. Russia's going to be a guard unto the Assyrians. Well, the Arabs,
Yeah.
But
Russia and Iran are allies.
Yeah. So just seeing it for what it is, through the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai, this is the starting process of this bitch going down, or of America the Great. Well, it's like Babylon the Great going down. It's like it.
Right.
You know, but hey, that's all I got, or that's all we have for right now. You know, Abarakazai, we do a part two. You know, going to China. You know, if you ain't got anything else, so with that, you know, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, Shalom, and Shalom.
So